Ready to bring your vision to life? At Small Rig, every idea, design, and product is inspired by you, the creator. With our industry-first under co-design mode and the Dream Rig free customization project, we unite with global creators to turn big dreams into reality. Whether it's a cage rig or mount, Small Rig's versatile gear is built to elevate your craft. Small Rig, where your creativity meets our innovation. Go to smallrig.com.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Boobies!
Hi.
Oh, hello.
And welcome to
Boobies.
Boobies.
That's right. We're your hosts. I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Joshua.
And today we are here to talk to you about
Alien Romulus.
Romulus.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
2024 science fiction horror film directed by Fede Alvarez. And
Okay,
written
great.
by Alvarez and Rodo Sayagues.
And then it's starring Kaylee Spaney, David Johnson, Archie Renault.
I think Renault.
Renault is what I felt originally in my soul,
But Renault.
but I didn't look it up.
Renault. Anyways, Archie,
Archie.
who plays Bjorn.
He was cutie.
Bjorn? Is
I
that
called him
Bjorn?
boyfriend the whole time.
Oh, that's Tyler. Yeah, gotcha.
Tyler.
And then
Baby Bjorn?
who was Bjorn? Then has to be the David Johnson.
Who's Bjorn?
Bjorn.
Dickhead?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Or I called him BJ.
I
for most
called
of the
him
time.
Dickhead.
Yeah, because he
Because he was
was.
so mean.
He was a butt face.
I was like, I hope he dies first.
and well, second. Come almost there.
Yeah.
And then Isabella Merced, Spike Fern. Maybe that's. I don't know. And we have Eileen Wu, and they are
As
all
Navarro.
As Navarro, and they're.
I called her shaved head girl for the first little bit.
Oh yeah, I love her name actually.
Navarro?
It just sounds so like strong, commanding almost. Like Navarro. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Even though giving last name, right? It's giving last name. I wonder what her first name was. We didn't even get to learn it. And we follow these characters as they embark on an adventure that unfortunately meets a foreseeable on our part demise.
Yes.
Doom.
As
Because we
most alien films do.
are familiar with how the story
The
goes.
franchise.
Excited to cover it because I was anticipating it coming out, a fan of the movies, and yeah, bless you.
Thank you.
It's a chest burster. And yeah, I don't know. Anything you want to add before jumping into it?
Oh, how was your holidays?
Oh yeah, happy Thanksgiving, guys.
We did a rerun of Thanksgiving because it felt fitting, and I was in Chicago, so we needed a day. We needed a day off.
Yeah, and it was good. Thanks for asking. Lots of turkey, lots of eating and napping, and that's pretty much it. Had family come into town, and we were just taking it easy for the most
Nice.
part. And like nothing's really, not much to do other than just like be home and like.
Yeah, because most things are closed.
Yeah, and the guys are watching the game, and all the kids are running around, and the sisters are talking in the kitchen.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was fun though.
Good.
And how was Chicago?
It was so cold, but it was a really enjoyable time. Andrew planned an impeccable trip, really well planned. So
That's awesome.
we got to do lots of fun things. It was really cold. My face I needed a balaclava because my face was like, the wind on my cheeks was like, it hurt.
I can imagine.
Physically hurt. And then on Thanksgiving Day, we saw the parade. Well, we saw the big turkey float, which was the first float, and then we saw one color guard, and then we were like,
We're
Okay.
out. It's too cold.
It was too cold and we were hungry. So we were like,
That wind is crazy.
yeah. I mean, it
don't
was
know-
kind of warm because the street was so packed as well. Like we also couldn't really see the
view.
yeah. And so we were
Too
just
many
like,
people.
there's not really any point of us staying here when we can't see
That's the
anything.
problems of being like under 5 foot.
Yeah.
8, basically.
And so, which, I mean, his dad and his brother are tall.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think Andrew is like 5'8". But
he?
yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people who are like
But I'm 5'4".
tall.
I was wearing
Tall.
little kitten heels. I walked 5 miles, over 5 miles in heels the first day, and then 6 miles in heels the second day. I
For
didn't
the
think
beauty.
I didn't think we would be walking that much on Thanksgiving.
But you
And,
did. Like
yeah.
where to go do things.
Yeah, we ended up in Chinatown, and Chinatown was completely open. They
Yeah.
don't give two fucks. The hair salons, everything was open. And
It's
so,
like on a Christmas Story.
yeah, exactly. And so we ate Korean food for Thanksgiving dinner.
That's cute.
I had suntubu, which
is
is tofu soup.
Oh, cute. What did Andrew have?
He had chicken bulgogi.
I already know my man's gonna be eating like the best thing on the menu.
Yeah.
He knows how to
And
eat good.
his mom had bibimbap, and then his dad and I both had suntubu, and then Matt got like a big old like tray of food. I don't know. It was almost like a bento box.
Like a sampler.
But yeah, but then it had all these different little things in it.
And I'll have the chicken nuggets, please.
Chicken nuggets. Oh, no, suntubu's so good. You should try it. One day we'll try it together. If soft tofu doesn't bother you. It does. That's
I
fine.
just don't really eat it, so I don't know.
It's
I'll
really
try
good
it.
though.
I'll try
You
it.
can
I'll
try a
everything
bite of
once.
mine or Andrew's because it'll have meat in it.
Andrew.
But yeah, it was a good holiday. I was glad to be back in Texas though with the kitties.
Yeah,
I
and I'm
missed
sure
them.
and it's not as cold.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I wore shorts the next day and was
I mean,
like,
and I thought I was cold here. We got a little bit of a, what's it called, cold front while the holidays were happening, but it feels a lot different today, like dramatically today from even like just yesterday. But I was in Austin yesterday and it was pretty cold still.
yeah.
But yeah, into the movie we go.
Into the
This movie,
I don't know. I was about to sing Into the Thick of It.
into the thick of it,
But then also like Into the Woods.
a mixture.
Yeah.
This movie joins a roster of other movies, of course, in the franchise of Aliens, because we have, of course, the movie that started it all, Alien. And then we have our Aliens 3, and then Resurrection. And of course, then we have like Prometheus and Covenant.
Prometheus, yeah.
And this movie is not necessarily a sequel nor a prequel, but kind of like a side plot quest that ties into the film, and does a really kind of cool job of tying everything in. Well, not everything, but tying a lot of threads together. And it falls in between Alien and Aliens, the sequel. So it's the year, I want to say 21 Ooh. 79. Between 2122 and 2179. It's kind of like not necessarily known. It's not, I don't think it's not stated. It isn't stated. But yeah, I think we'll just go from it right there because the movie essentially picks up into us opening. Well, one, I really love the 20th century, like, what do you call those? The logo opening, dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun,
and
dun, and how it like glitched and turned
Glitched
green.
and went to green.
Because that pays homage to, I want to say Alien 3. They did that in that movie, kind of to open up a little similar effect. And then we have it going into the silence of space, and we are approaching a spaceship that we're getting a look into the inside of, and we see that we have a computer system. And it starts to beep, everything turns on. And I really love how like it was quiet when we were on the outside in this vacuum and space of space. And then when we get inside of the spaceship, we get to hear all the little beeps and kind of like then like more of a score come in as
Yeah.
it's coming on, the Mother 9001. And I don't know, the whole movie I really liked, like the score and how everything
Yeah,
tied
it was
in
really well
together.
placed and
Really like ghostly almost a lot of the
yes,
times.
definitely.
Haunting. And the computers all come on and we come online because we are coming in close encounter to our target subject. And we are going through the wreckage of the Nostromo, which is our ship from Alien, which we covered. And if you'd like to check out our episode on that, which was really a long time ago, actually.
Way long ago.
Yeah, like in our first year of covering stuff.
And I've definitely never seen any of the other Aliens.
Yeah, it would be
This
a really
was my first one. So I
fun dive if you'd want to.
Yeah. And I liked it. So I wouldn't mind doing it, but there's just so many that it's a very daunting task.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you've never seen all the like Harry Potters and you like want to watch them all. It's like, damn, they're all like almost over I'm pretty sure they're all over 2 hours long.
Yeah.
And like, it's a big story and 8 movies. And this franchise has, I want to say, if not the same, 8 movies, I think, in it at this point. I don't know, or somewhere around there. But yeah, it ties those in because this is the ship from the first movie and it got kind of blown to pieces. And so they're going through that and they are picking up what looks to be a meteor. But as
I called it space junk.
Space junk.
I was
it's very much
captured the
junk.
space junk.
Well, because if it's just kind of blown up in space at that point, then the space is junk at that point.
Space is junk.
Nobody's property. And so they capture it and bring it into the docking bay of this spaceship. And we see that it is I love how it's kind of like set up there. They're putting it into the whatchamacallit, I don't know, like a table, but it's got like these prongs and then they're cutting it open. But I just like how it's all very like ominous and the music is just really playing into it.
Yeah, the music, especially by the time we get to the title card and stuff, it's like
Yeah,
it's a bunch of
it.
like big laws
like
and
Ghastly Wells
and and then by the time we get to the title card, it's just abrupt silence, which I liked that use of
the sound and the music. Is that like they just had like a male choir and a female choir and a young choir and a this choir, and then they were like, everybody sing this, and then they just like put it all together, and then just kind of like, we're gonna have this one start 2 seconds late and this one 2 seconds before, so when it all meshes together, it sounds very haunting and like
dissonant and very ahs. But yeah, they capture the space junk and they cut it open, like you said, and they're all in like hazmat suits, so they know that what they're working with is like potentially dangerous. Like, but and then they cut it open and then whoop, there it is, the xenomorph.
I love your delivery. It's there. It's literally just sleeping. It's taking a nap.
It's curled up in a little fetal position. It needs a blankie.
Kind of in hibernation, essentially.
Yeah. They thought it was dead.
They did.
We find out later, but
it was not. It was just
not dead. It just rested.
It is the perfect organism. It cannot die. Well, it can, but it takes, I guess,
it's like a cockroach.
Bullet holes through the head.
Yeah.
Then even then, it could come back.
Exactly.
Like a cockroach. Like you can chop off their heads and they can still live, which is so weird.
Just run around.
Why don't we do that? That's so sad.
Well,
we're so easily taken out.
That's true. They did just find this jellyfish that is immortal.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And so they're...
Wait, how do we know?
Well, apparently it has like regenerative cells that
okay. That could make it immortal.
Yeah. And so they're testing on it now to see
something.
At least
bad
this is a headline
happen.
I read. I don't know if this is real life or if it was fake news. It probably was the Onion.
But it's giving now that they've found this, it's going to go into the wrong hands and they're going to create.
I know. My immediate thought was that it was going to go into Donald Trump.
Oh, God.
And then he's going to
he's going to be our super soldier
forever.
Captain America.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
And I
Yeah.
was like, dear God, no. Like, don't come out with it before he dies.
He would be the one to get it with all the money.
I know. That's
We'll see.
why I thought. And I
And
was
the
like,
presidencies.
damn.
But we we have this little cocoon now that we get to see the shape of, and we see that it was holding obviously the alien in it, and then, you know, the music and everything is really building it up, and then it cuts out, and we cut to our main protagonist of the film, Miss Rain, as she is having a dream of being in the sunset in Yavaga.
Come to me.
Focus Features invites you to succumb to the darkness.
Nosferatu.
From director Robert Eggers comes a masterpiece of horror.
He is coming. This creature is a force more powerful than evil. It is death itself.
Nosferatu. Rated R. Under 17 nanometer without parent. Only in theaters Christmas Day. Special engagements in Dolby and IMAX.
At 25 Home, our ultimate goal is to provide you with a transformative experience, making each day feel like it has an extra hour. We believe your home is more than just a space, it's a sanctuary where comfort, relaxation, and happiness thrive. Discover the difference at 25 Home today. Shop now at 25home.com.
And
Yeah, it took me forever to get her name. Even though they say it 1,000 times, I couldn't tell if they were saying Ren or if they were saying Rey. And I was like, so this is Star Wars? Like, what's going on?
yeah, no.
And then at the end, whenever she goes, this is Rain, blah, 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 signing off. I was like,
Oh,
her name's Rain.
her name is Rain. There you go.
Literally the last sentence of the movie, did I get her name?
It's good,
Otherwise, I
though,
called her
'cause
girlfriend
I
the whole time.
remembered her name being Ray too, for some reason in my mind, and not Rain.
Yeah. Well, it's because it sounds like, especially when Andy says it, every time
his
it
accent.
sounds like he's saying Ray.
Ray.
Yeah,
Ray.
with the like
Ryan.
British or
Ryan.
whatever sort of accent they had.
They pronounce the H.
H.
Hi, Mitch.
Hey, Mitch. Hey, Bear.
Hi. What's a hey bear?
And instead of A Bear,
A bear? Hey bear?
Herbert.
Hey bear. Oh, like the name.
Yeah.
Oh, hey bear. Hey bear?
Hey, Bear.
Hey, wait, no. Say it how you said it the first time.
Hey, Bear.
Is that how you said it?
Yeah, I think so. Hey, Bear.
I'm gonna have to run back the tape, run back the episode.
That was me rewinding it.
And yeah, you're right. It does sound a bit off, but she's Rain, and
Rain.
she's sitting in the sun on, like, you know, this really scenic, pretty whatever. And I love the once again, like, music in the background. It's like hum. Right? It's like
It's like that cat. Huh?
yeah. Huh? and then she wakes up because she was dreaming, and she's really on a not a spaceship, but like the quarters,
I called
sleeping
it a
quarters.
compound.
A compound. That's what it's giving. Yeah.
Working on some sort of giant compound. And we find out that it's the Jackson Stars mining colony.
Yes.
And it's dark. And we find out that they can't see the sun where they are, probably because of pollution. I think it had blocked out the sun.
Yeah, they have all these pollution, or maybe naturally the planet just has storm clouds that like envelop
Or so
the
thick everywhere.
Like, why am I talking ahead of my lips? That envelop the atmosphere, and so then they have to like fight through that.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why everybody dies, of course, because you need sunlight as human beings for like
Yeah.
survival. And yeah, so she's working on the space colony, and we're introduced to her and Andy very immediately as they are eating, and he's making his dad jokes. We get introduced to this, and they kind of are a running theme.
I'm stealing some of his
throughout
dad jokes.
They're really good.
Yeah, I liked his one at the end. Why do monsters not eat clowns?
Because they taste funny.
Yeah, I
like
loved
that
it.
one.
I wrote it down so I could remember
I
it.
really like the book one.
Which one was that?
You know, I'm reading this new book.
I don't remember the punchline.
Oh no! Ask me what book it is.
Oh, what book is it?
Oh, it's on Zero Gravity. Zero G gravity. I just can't seem to put it down.
Oh, funny.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
that one was funny. I do remember that one now.
But that's how it gives her the whole idea for the gravity purge thing.
Yeah.
But we are with Andy as he's giving these dad jokes to Rain, and she's kind of like, stop. Oh, those aren't funny anymore. And he's like, oh, you used to laugh at these. And there we get very much this brother sister relationship aspect built up, where they're kind of like, you can tell they are protective of each other, have a jokey relationship. And at this point, you don't really necessarily know that he's also a spoiler alert, a synthetic.
Yeah.
You're just kind of like, oh, he's
Artificial person.
kind of like, it's just he
He
whatever.
seems very natural.
Yeah, for
And,
sure.
Yeah,
But then when you find out he's a synthetic, I'm like, man, this dude plays a really good job at being a robot.
little fake person.
Because he's like so robotic.
Yeah.
At times. And so with his facial features. And so she receives a call as well from I forgot the dude's name, but they are avoiding this person because they owe him 3 months of, I guess, pay or however that works. So whatever. And so, Andy makes, this is like my 4th time watching the movie. So that's why I've kind of like, I picked up even on that this time that I didn't before.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, wow. And she says, because Andy says, he'll just call again. And she says, it's okay. Maybe we won't be here.
Oh, right.
By the time he calls back. And so then we cut to them walking out of there, and she needs to go see I don't know what you'd call it, quota people.
Yeah, the people who can verify her like travel permit.
Yeah.
And she gets there and she's, telling Andy to like, she's very protective over him and is like, just stay here. Don't get into any trouble. Like, don't do anything. And then she goes up to the window and the lady's like, she totally doctored it, didn't she?
Oh, yeah, no, most certainly.
Because she had met the quota, which was like 1,200 hours or something, or 12,000 hours. And then she was like, unfortunately, we just raised it to 24.
Yeah.
And jumped it up. And even though like her quota was like
it
met,
said ready to go. Like
Yeah.
it said like, yeah, she's
and
good.
they were like, never mind, you can't go anymore. It'll be another 5 to 6 years that she'll have to be living there. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's very depressing, disheartening. And like you said, they are fucking over their people, because this is just to show how the Weyland-Yutani Corporation really doesn't give a crap about like the workers or anything like that. They're just all about, the mining and for profit and all of that stuff. But yeah, shows really the level of kind of control they have over everybody at this point, because they can just be like, well, sorry, now you don't, so you're gonna have to stay here. Total bullshit. And I was gonna mention too beforehand, when they were walking to this thing, Andy, we were already getting kind of like, it seems that he's like really naive, because he was seeing what are those people, like street like panhandler, street like a street magician, like a street like move the cup around, betting, trying to get money, and he wanted to go do it or whatever, and she's trying to explain to him like, you will never win, like that's just not how it works,
Yeah.
And then unfortunately she is interrupted and can't really plead her case with this person anymore, one because they're like bye, and then Andy's getting beat up outside, unfortunately.
Yeah.
By
little kids.
Yeah, from some kids.
So mean.
Yeah. And at first I was like, well, like when I first saw the movie, I was like, damn, that's so fucked up. Racism came back like even harder. Like what? Like I was like, what's happening? And then you find out immediately like he is getting beat up because he's a synthetic.
Yeah.
And so
he's
there's
an artificial person.
syntheticism, cyborgism.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
And he's like bleeding, and he's bleeding this white blood of sorts. And this is where I was like, oh, he's some sort of robot person.
Yeah.
Wow.
The white blood. And the other movies too, the synthetics, they that's like their blood. It's like milky substance.
I think I remember that
in the first one, in Alien, he kept drinking milk, remember?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which also, I don't know if that's a thing or if they were, I don't know why he was drinking milk so much, honestly. But yeah, it's just how their blood, I guess, is. It's not blood, it's just fuel.
Like fuel.
Yeah, something.
Like oil. Like Tin Man.
Yeah, very much that.
Look.
And she resets him by doing something to his little neck piece thing area, his hard drive. And then they get called up by their friends.
Yes, and they so you can tell there's some sort of chemistry going on between her and the guy on the phone. And or on her little like Apple Watch of sorts. I'm sure it was an Apple at that point. But her watch of some sort. And they go to the ship. They're immediately met with Bjorn is his name, and then Navarro outside, and Bjorn's like playing on a Switch or something is
Their
what it
version
looked
of it,
like.
yeah.
Yeah. And
The Switch 5000.
yeah, and he was like interrupted, so he kind of got upset and threw the game, and then Navarro was like, I told you she'd come.
Yeah. They like bet.
Yeah, and she was like, you owe me $5 now. And so they bet on it. And then they go upstairs and we find out that basically, and the whole time Bjorn's being so mean to everything he says to Andy. But he says a slew of mean things.
Yeah.
But basically we find out that they're wanting to break into this wayward ship that's floating above them in the atmosphere that has cryogenic pods.
Cryo chambers, yes.
Yeah, in it.
Cryopods.
And so that way they can travel to, what was the name of the?
Yavarga.
Yavarga. Okay. Yeah, I didn't write it down because I was like, I have no clue how to say this.
Yavarga, and it's an independent space system. So it's apart from the Weyland-Yutani Corporation, which is probably another reason why they don't want her going over there.
Yeah.
Because she's out of her control. They lose a worker.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, so they're basically wanting to get onto this ship, take the chambers, and then put them on their ship so that way they can, or like get the fuel from them. So that way they can travel to this planet that takes 9 years to travel to, which is wild. So obviously they need the like cryogenic sleep and stuff.
So that way they don't age or die or have to literally just look at the wall for 9 years.
And eat.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be sustainable.
Yeah. It's like what's that movie with Jennifer Lawrence and Passengers? Yeah.
That movie's fucked up.
Yeah.
When she finds out that he's the one that woke her up.
Yeah.
That's disheartening.
I'd be
hella pissed off.
Yeah.
And then to like find out, well, I guess we have to like just take care of this damn shit for all of the people who I was supposed to live with in 100 years. Okay, cool.
And they grow old and they make that farm on the ship and stuff.
Yeah, I'm kind of remembering because then by the time that like all the people wake up, it's like already like cultivated and stuff because they did it. Yeah. So like they gave everybody kind of a head start essentially. Yeah. Well, she should have a whole statue made
Erected.
for her. Yeah, erect. And so that's whenever we blah 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 blah. Yeah, they're just like, oh yeah, okay, we'll do it. Essentially, I mean, it doesn't really take too much convincing.
Yeah, and we find out that they need Andy because he can like, because he is a synthetic person, he can like use his fingerprint to get
opens up
access to everything.
Yes.
And like can like speak their computer language. Yeah, basically. My next note is, wow, this guy's really a dick.
Yeah, he's so mean to Andy.
He's so mean to Andy.
He's very mean.
Everything he does
he doesn't
is just
let up the entire time to death. Yeah.
And it made me so mad. I was just like, this man deserves to die.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's terrible.
He did get his comeuppance though.
Yeah.
And this group goes up as they go up. And they ascend. We get to see them.
Seems highly dangerous too.
Yeah, very much. But
like I was like, their ship is gonna fall out of the sky.
I think it's like a part of their like one. I think Navarro. I guess it's her job to like do stuff up there. I don't think it's not mentioned, right? But I saw somewhere with the director or someone saying it or something. So because someone asked him, like an interview asked, like, why did anybody be like, who's letting them go
just
up
leaving
there?
Yeah, I was confused about that.
Yeah, or wouldn't the company be like, that's unauthorized, like you can't go, you know what I mean? But that's why like they had like free range to kind of go up there, whatever. I mean, obviously not go all the way up there, but that's why
At
like
least
there weren't
into
any
the atmosphere.
alarms like being put off of them going.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I figured that someone must have had some sort of clearance. But yeah, I wasn't sure. I was just like, why are they allowed to just leave? I was confused.
But it's very dangerous because they're flying through this really harsh atmosphere of just storms, and it's just giving like what's the word? I don't know. I don't know, but what's his face? The Bjorn, Dickface, decides to, I don't know why, whatever this is, but light a cigarette, right?
Yeah.
And have
As
it like
they're like flying or ascending really high,
Yeah.
really fast. And so it makes the flame like a foot long, and then the cigarette just like
burns up.
disappears.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got like basically one puff off of it.
But I guess one big puff. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so it's just him being his character. And then
Yeah, he played it really well.
Yeah, really, really well. Even the parts where he's like him and Tyler when they're talking, like there's no part where he's just like chill. He's like, oh, you want my balls, bro? Or like, or
Yeah,
even
what's your
later,
obsession with my
even
balls?
later, he's like, what's up with the military shit? Or like, like the whole time he's just like kind of a brat. Like he always
Yeah.
has something to be like kind of like wah about. And then we have them getting through the atmosphere, and then we can see the sun, and they're like, oh my god, it's the sun. And
Is that the sun?
this one, cringe. I got secondhand cringe because Rain's like, oh, I've seen it
Yeah.
in my dreams. I'm like, bitch, calm down. Like, shut up.
Because they were like, I heard the sunsets were beautiful in, what's it called again?
In Yavaga.
In Yavaga.
Yavaga.
And then, then she
she's
was
like,
like,
I've seen them.
And I was like expecting her to go like, well, in pictures.
Me too.
And
or
then
to
she was
be
like, in my dreams. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, then you've not seen them.
It felt, because like when you said earlier, whenever she was having that dream and she was on the whatever planet or whatever, it did seem like it was setting something up, like she had been there before or something.
Yeah.
So then for her to say that and then just be like, in my dreams, I was like, what the hell is this? Like,
What?
Yeah.
Is it time to reimagine your future? The right business skills may make a difference in your career. At Capella University, we offer a relevant education that's designed to focus on what you need to know in the business world. We'll teach professional skills to help you pursue your goals, like business management, strategic planning, and effective communication. And you can apply these skills right away. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
This episode is brought to you by Skinny Pop Popcorn. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Oh, so light and crunchy. Skinny Pop Original Popcorn is the snack you've been searching for. Made with just 3 simple ingredients: popcorn kernels, sunflower oil, and salt. Snacking never felt or tasted so good. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Give yourself permission to snack and pick up Skinny Pop Original Popcorn today.
But it also, I just felt cringe for her because I was just like, that's embarrassing, bro. Like,
Yeah.
And so it was giving me like pick me girl. That's all. And so then we are getting closer to the ship, quote unquote, and they realize that, wow, okay, this isn't just some regular ship.
This thing is fucking huge
Massive,
in
yeah.
comparison to theirs.
It's like a whole planet.
I mean, their ship is already large.
Yeah.
Like
for
whenever
sure.
they were taking off in it, I was like, damn, that's a really big ship.
And then when you think about how their ship goes into that ship, like later on, and like how it's
just
just
dwarfs it. It's like going into the Death Star.
Essentially, it feels very much like a planet.
Yeah.
It's so big. And I'm also thinking like, how is that just hanging out in orbit right there? Because it's so big. Like to
why
to
is
the
nobody
planet.
like
or like it is not getting sucked in? I don't know, because it was really close. But I guess it was essentially. It's just I don't know. Okay. Because they're noticing it, they're seeing how big it is, and they're like, well, I guess they think it's an old outpost, abandoned. And then it's showtime, so we get
Yeah, they kept saying it was decommissioned.
yeah. And we have the boys now getting geared up and getting ready to leave the ship that they are on and dock onto the main part of we'll go ahead and say it, the Ramus Romulus ship.
Yeah.
And once again, Bjorn is being a really big asshole to Andy.
Yeah, everything. I couldn't even write it all down.
Yeah,
everything. Yeah, I was just like, he's an ass.
He's being obnoxious, and Andy's not even doing anything to him at this point either. He's just being himself. He's trying to tell jokes because what's his face was feeling nervous.
Yeah,
just
and he was like,
"Shut the fuck up."
Fuck?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we are getting into the Remus part of the ship, and we are going through what looks like, what are those things, like ducts, air ducts.
Oh yeah.
And we see a dead rat,
like some sort of crawl space
in 0G.
Yeah, it was just floating there, and then the gravity purge happens, and it just like bloop, falls back down, and then it happens again, and then they've got to like
kind of
shimmy past the dead rat,
which is explained to us that because this is an old station, I guess, it will do that every once in a while to keep itself like running, and so like I guess the gravity stuff doesn't break down. But they get into this big room, and we notice immediately that it's the same room from the beginning of the film whenever they brought in good old Xenomorphia into the room and cut her out of the big old meteor. And this is where they're floating through, and Bjorn, I think Karma is like just trying to like get at him the whole time because he falls when the gravity purges itself. He falls onto a barrel, which has got to hurt.
Yeah.
And then they are able to turn the power on with Andy, and the gravity comes back, the lights turns on, everything has power. And so, yeah. We're rocking and rolling.
Yeah, and they find the pods, but they discovered that they only have 3 years worth of fuel, and they need 9 in order to get to
Yavarga.
Mm-hmm. I will not remember that for the life of me.
I gotcha.
And then at this point, we flip back to the girls on the ship, and we find out that sister, what's her name?
Kay,
that's right. Kay.
She's
Every
pregnant.
kiss begins with Kay. Is pregnant. Yep, because she's throwing up, and she makes the with the end of the movie. Oh my God! But she makes the comment, "I'm just happy this baby will get to see the sun."
Yeah,
which is like, aw, that's so sweet.
Almost.
And
but kind of.
Yeah, it does.
In the vacuum of space.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it scary baby, but spoiler alert. I
almost texted you too, like, hey, sorry, there's gonna be
a birthing scene.
I thought maybe not
to ruin it.
Yeah, or not have you going in like at every like, where is it? Where is it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't expecting it. And then whenever she pulled her out and her belly was all distended, I was like, oh my God.
It's happening.
And then I was like, oh my God, is she giving birth right now? And then she was. And I was like, ah.
To a Pokemon. Essentially.
Yes.
And
very wild.
While she's, pregnant, while she's throwing up and having this conversation with Rain, Navarro's checking out the pods. And then the boys are walking to get more cryo fuel, and they are learning about the Remus and the Romulus ship and how it was created, and both sides one side was made for like a lab and one side was something I don't remember. And then we have them walking past like artwork. I don't know this artwork, but it's like very much showing like, looks like apocalyptic, like just people like almost like, like a mob
Yeah.
thing, and it zooms in on, which is kind of foreshadowing on like this baby like suckling on the mom's boob, and she looked dead. And then we have them going into the other side of the ship where they go into this room, and Andy's being a fucking douche face to BJ. Or my bad, reverse. BJ's being a douche face to Andy, but then Andy saves his life. Even though Bjorn was just like, I could like fry you with this like electrical thing.
And then it seems like at first that Andy's like finally had enough of his shit.
And retaliating.
And because he like grabs him. But then he yanks him back and he's like, watch out.
Mm-hmm. That's a huge asshole.
Yeah, it was. And we see that there's like half of a body there. And next to this, giant hole. And we see that it is another synthetic person. But then also somewhere in here too, we got the conversation that Andy, once they get there, will have to be decommissioned.
That's right.
Because artificial persons are not allowed. And this made me so sad. I almost cried.
Yeah, no, it's really sad.
Because he was like, whenever she said about the sunsets or sunrises, and she was like, he goes, I can't wait to see them with you. And I was like, oh my God. And she knew the whole time and she didn't tell him.
This whole time.
My stomach was starting to hurt. I was getting so sad.
What gets me is whenever his line and he says, well, whatever is good for Rain is good for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like, damn. Like,
I love whenever he throws it back in her face, too. Whenever
later he's on. Oh, how could I leave someone behind?
Yeah. I was like, oh.
Yeah, burn. Yeah.
Yeah, that one almost made me get out of my seat. Like,
yeah.
I was like, hell yeah, tell her.
It's sassy Andy. And that's Andrew.
Savage.
And so he ends up, or where are we at? Sorry.
They make it to the cryo chamber, basically.
Yes, they do.
And we also, at some point, we see a face hugger on the screen, too.
Oh, yeah, because it's on like a computer screen. So we know that this lab has something to do with them. So it's kind of the foreshadowing like, oh, fuck, okay, this room is bad news. And so Tyler takes out one of the cryo fuel things because he sees that it, has enough fuel for them. Takes it out, but as soon as he takes it out, the whole room turns red and we got an alarm going on. The room locks and closes behind them. So all three of them are stuck in this room.
And Andy's finger is no longer allowing access.
And I love how Rain is just like, well, obviously this is not just some random room. She's the only kind of like smart one putting it together.
Yeah.
And we had seen that there are all these like face huggers in these artificial like lab made cocoons. And then they were being kept frozen. And so since he removed that, it's heating up in the room and now they're melting, or not melting, but warming up, and they're getting
able
activated
to come to life again.
Mm-hmm.
And since they're smaller, I'm sure it like takes less time and stuff.
Maybe.
And that's why it happened so quickly.
And they just like plop out. And then I love how they just like
immediately
go into the water. And they just like swim. That's terrifying. And the guys are just like, I love Tyler's reaction. He was like, the fuck was that? Like, it was very like, that
felt very realistic,
very genuine, because they're like, what the hell? And even the girls on the radios are like, what's going on? And he's like, there's something in here. Or no, they're already at the door. Are they?
Yeah, I think at this point, the moment this stuff started going south and like the alarm started going off, they made their way in.
Yeah.
And this is when they
like change the modules on, or get the module out of the
old body.
Mm-hmm, of the old synthetic. And then it like comes to life and like scares the fuck out of Rain. And then Navarro has to like take the little disc out. And then, yes, they make their way back to the guys. And this is whenever shit really hits the fan and all those little face huggers come
I was
out.
like, I hope boyfriend doesn't die first.
And thankfully
I mean, I knew he had to die at some point.
Yeah.
I was like, Tyler's going to die. But I was like, I hope he doesn't die first. I really like him.
He was a good guy.
Yeah.
Like it never felt at one point like he was like a
slimy
butt
or anything.
face or anything. He also showed that he like cared for Andy as well, and he wasn't fucking,
he cared for all people involved, like his sister, Rain, Andy, like even
he was trying to get
Bjorn.
them out of there. He was trying to get them out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah. To freedom. as they were basically and essentially slaves to the Weyland-Yutani Company. And so they are freaking out because these facehuggers are running around the room. They're trying to attack the boys. And she tells Tyler to put this, the little little disc into Andy's neck, which is his module thing, and then he starts to reboot. And so this whole time, Tyler and BJ are fighting off the facehuggers, and one of them gets on Tyler, but then doucheface like so stupid and decides to electrocute. I mean, it works, but like at what expense, you know? And also they're in water, like their feet are in water. I thought this was like a bad
mix.
Wouldn't you just die? And so, yeah, he ends up electrocuting the facehugger that's on Tyler's face. And it knocks out Tyler. So he falls into the water. Thankfully, you know, with his back down, because if he would have fell face down, he would have drowned. And then
I know, I was so worried because they just kind of left him, and I thought he was still in like
submerged,
a foot at least deep water. And so I was like, oh my God, is he just dying? And no one's like paying attention
in the mass chaos.
Yeah.
And thankfully, Andy reboots and he comes back too, and just in time because there's a facehugger that's just about to land on top of Tyler's face, but he catches it and then he throws it into the wall, and it like
Andy's so strong.
He's super strong.
He's got
Andy
super
2.0.
strength. Yeah.
And he is able to go to the front and like, you know, use his finger, and he can open the door now. The three of them get out, but not before one of them comes out. And I love how Bjorn is looking at them and they're all just like breaking on the glass and they just like burst out.
Yeah.
It's so scary.
Kind of like
Terrifying.
the zombies in Train to Busan, whenever they just like wave out words. That's kind of how it was here.
Yeah. It's very much very similar. And they just start chasing after them, and they're able to get into the room that they were in previously where the old synthetic is, but not in enough time because a facehugger goes and attaches itself to Navarro's face.
Yep. It
Poor
gets
thing.
Navarro. And then at this point, what was his name?
Rook.
Rook comes to life and is like, you don't help her, you run. And they were like, Bjorn. Not Bjork. That's
Not Bjork. Not me, Bjork. Bjorn.
Yes. He is like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, we're not going to leave her. And he's like,
She's as good as dead.
She is.
Shoot her. Cap her off.
And then fucking Rain comes up with the great idea to freeze the tail, because they were trying to take it off of her at first, but the tail was wrapping around her neck and like choking her. And so it's like its fail-safe system to not be yanked off.
It's to just kill the host.
Yeah. And so they were like, Rain is like, what if we freeze the tail and make it to where it won't choke her, and then we can just rip it off. And they were like, that might work, but there is a potential that the host, like that the parasite has already done what it needs to do to the host.
60-40.
Yeah, 60-40% chance against her. Yeah. And but they do it. It successfully, they are able to get the facehugger off of her.
Pops off.
And then she wakes up and they like get her back to the ship.
Yeah,
and everything's
but not before Andy is all like, because the synthetic is like, you have a new mission, like a new, well, not yet, not new director, but he's like, hey, humans are too emotional. You need to protect them at all costs. And then that's whenever Andy's like, click, and then he goes over to them. He's like, wait a minute, I can't let you go. And then they're like, buzz, and then he goes flying, gets back up, and that's when he tells what's her name, Rain, like, hey, I've been a burden to you, but not anymore. I'm gonna help you now. And then he becomes like cyber robotic Andy, RoboCop, and just like pops up and just like and starts chasing after them.
Yeah.
And I really like can't stand how Navarro gets to the fucking shit and is like telling Kay like, it's Andy. He's glitchy. I just need to like get out. Like, bitch, it's you.
Yeah.
Like, you're the fucking problem.
You're the problem. That's why he's coming after you.
How dare you blame Andy? Because Kay doesn't know anything. So she just thinks like, oh shit, Andy's glitching. He's after Kay, my friend.
Andy can do no wrong.
Literally, Kay is the one. I mean, Navarro is the one harboring an alien inside her. And so, yeah, they get onto the ship. Navarro's on there. She's trying to get out. But before they can get away, she's like starts to feel the fucking chest burster inside her, and she takes earlier she found this like X-ray gun thing, and she puts it behind her, and we get this cool scene of the chest burster moving around inside her. And
yeah, it was neat.
Yeah, and then Kay is like, what the fuck? And then she like falls down, and then they're like, oh my god. And then Navarro accidentally kicks the like throttle. So the ship just starts like just literally caravening. And then at the same time, a chest burster is bursting its way out of her chest. And I love how Kay is just like, I don't know what to do. Tell me what to do. And then Navarro is just, unfortunately just like, don't let me die. Dead.
And then she's dead.
Literally.
Yeah. And the chest bursting scene felt very realistic.
Yeah.
This time.
Sure did.
It wasn't overdone at all. It was like it really did just burst through her chest cavity, and
how it just kind of like slowly like worms its way out. And
yeah,
it's
like it wasn't like a giant hole, gaping hole. It was like this like little crevice that it had to
kind
get
of
through.
worm out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love how it all syncopated together, and how like you have Kay's scream, and then like the crash of the ship, and then like the silence, and then like what's his face? Bjorn getting up there at the top of the ladder and just watching it just kind of like
yeah.
And then it hits, and then he just talk about him falling again.
He falls bad.
Fucked up.
Yeah, and his legs, like he's limping later.
If he would have lived, he would have had horrible back and like leg problems at like
for the
45.
rest of his life. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing busts out, and then the ship crashes, and we've got the baby xenomorph coming out, and they crash into like a storage unit of some sort. And we find out that because the other three were left on the ship, Andy, Tyler, and Rain were left on the ship. And so we find out that now there's a 45-minute, T-minus 45 minutes until they hit an asteroid belt, which is like gonna destroy the ship.
Not good. Yeah.
Yeah. And she was like, what do you mean? I thought we had hours. And they were like, yeah, but the impact of the ship crashing onto this ship.
And the explosion shifted the axis. So they are now closer, which sucks for them because 36 to now just the 45 minutes. It's not a lot of time. And especially because they now have the mission of crossing over and getting to the other side of this station because they need to save. I mean, at this point, I don't know why. It's his sister, right?
Yeah.
So
I would be trying to go find her too, especially if I was like a big brother protective type.
Yeah.
And especially once he hears that she's still alive.
That's true. Because she's like, oh my gosh, they're all dead. I don't know what happened. And that's whenever, because she's waking up, she's coming to, and she goes down, and that's whenever she gets with Bjorn, and they see that like the cocoon is on the side of the wall, whatever, like the alien cocoon.
Yeah. And before this, they realized they needed to make it across the ship, and they had to go through a room full of face huggers. And Andy thankfully comes in with the like super helpful fact that the face huggers can't actually see, but they rely on what's it called?
Temperature?
Heat temperature signature. Heat signature.
Yeah, heat signature.
And they're like, they track people off that and sound. And so basically Rain's like, well, if we raise the temperature in the room to make them to our body temperature, will we then be invisible? And he was like, yeah, that could work. So they're moving through the room very quietly because they can't make sound either.
Yeah.
And this is when Kay wakes up and starts moving through the ship and runs into Bjorn.
That's right.
With the egg sack.
Yeah. And then he has this bright idea to electrocute it because it's Bjorn. And he decides to plug in his little electrocution stick into the main, battery thing on the wall. And
I mean, it was worth a shot.
It's worth a shot, but
But he doesn't really know what he's up against.
Exactly. And it's something that requires you to be in really close proximity to it. So it just kind of felt like, yeah. But as we see, he shoves it in. And I love Kay's reaction, how she's just looking at him do this. What the heck?
What the hell are you doing?
And just shoves it in, and you just hear the alien screaming inside. And then the acid, I'm assuming, from the alien's blood eats away so much at the electrocution stick.
Yeah.
Prod. It all just shuts off. It blows up. And then I guess what he thinks it's dead, and he motions her to walk over, but he's just looking at it, and this the little tail's kind of sticking out just a little bit, and then it pokes him right in the eye.
Yeah.
And he falls to the floor right underneath the sack. And I'm pretty sure on purpose the xenomorph's probably just
squeeze out all the blood.
Literally just having the blood drip onto Bjorn, and it's kind of
just immediately eating away at his skin.
Horrible way to go.
Yeah,
it must be, because it's just disintegrating until to the even the bone's gone.
The bone, yeah, his fingers were just disappearing.
Nothing, yeah. And
I wonder if it is so that you almost can't even feel it though, because it just
happens so fast,
burns through all your cells and nerve endings.
Maybe,
yeah.
And then it got onto his chest, and so it just burned a hole right through him, and so he just dies.
Yeah, pretty uneventful death. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess it is eventful,
kind of more torturous, if you'd say.
Yeah,
if I'd say so. Instead
not
of him
as
just getting
quick
stabbed
as some of the others.
Yeah, but he's and Kay's unfortunately watching. Also, you got that he was the father, right?
What?
I think he's the dad of the baby, because unless there's, I guess there's many assholes, because Rain asked who's the dad, who's the father, and Kay was just just some asshole.
Oh yeah.
So I was thinking that Bjorn was the father.
Oh, but I thought Bjorn and Navarro were together.
No, they were just friends.
Oh, I thought they gave boyfriend girlfriend
romantic vibes. Yeah. No. No. Because in all the other things that I've seen about it, that was them having a baby together.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't get that at all. Because him and Navarro really, to me, gave boyfriend girlfriend vibes.
I thought Navarro was a lesbian.
I mean, just because she had a shaved head?
No, she gave lesbian, I'm a tough lesbian vibe.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't get that.
But yeah, she had mentioned earlier that the father was an asshole.
Yeah.
So I
just thought it was some other asshole though.
It could be. I mean, it can be, but I was also thinking dang, she's watching the dad
the father
die.
of her child die. Yeah.
But then, she's obviously freaking out because she's oh my gosh, I want to get out of here. But she can't, because the key that Bjorn actually had dropped earlier is on the floor, and she doesn't know that.
Yeah,
and so
she can't find it.
She needs it to get out. And so that's whenever she starts to contact Tyler through the, whatchamacallit? Headpiece?
Yeah.
Walkie-talkie?
Walkie-talkie of sorts thing. And so he's having to respond to her, but remember, he's in that room full of face huggers, so he's having to be very quiet, and they're starting to take notice because he is sitting there talking to her and saying, hey, the key should be there somewhere. You just got to find it. Calm down. But big xenomorph is now coming out of the egg sac, and it's pissed because it just got zapped to death. Well, not to death, to life, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it definitely didn't die. But it got zapped a whole bunch. And so he's not happy.
No, not at all.
And then so she finally finds the key, but at this point they've made too much noise. The other three have made too much noise. And so we just get Andy go, run.
I love it.
Yeah, it was it reminded me of, what's that one song?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And all the videos, and it's run, and it's dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
But it's very much that.
I expected it to happen after he said
They
it.
should have
Because
displayed it.
It had, again, very haunting music in the background. And then all of a sudden it was silence. And
Yeah.
you just hear him say run.
Yeah.
And it was good.
It was a good little drop there. And then they run and it's like chaos because they all just start going after them. They're like diving and ducking, trying to dodge, getting attacked by the little face huggers.
The 5 Ds.
The 5 Ds.
Duck, dive.
It's dodge,
duck, dive,
and dodge.
and dodge again.
Yeah, I just watched it like a week or two ago.
I think I watched it last like 3 months ago.
Yeah. Dodge and then dodge at the end again.
You can dodge a wrench. You can dodge a ball.
And so we have them getting through this mess of face huggers. Tyler throws a little flare thing to like throw them off, and then they make it, but almost not because Tyler's right behind them. And
he barely makes it through this door.
And he decides to shut the door, and it closes. And Tyler narrowly gets through, and Rain is like, "Hey, you almost closed the door on him," and he's like, "But I didn't."
But I didn't.
But I
almost
didn't.
only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Literally, he said, "I actually calculated that I would close the door just in time for him to get through."
Yeah.
Yeah, and so then she's like, "All right, well, I'm watching you." Very much like that, not like that, but And then that's whenever we end up getting to. Oh yeah. I think this is where she asked him, right? No, not yet. My
we
bad.
flash back to sister.
Yeah, Kay, and
Kay.
she is waking up because she had. She took
She
that
fell.
horrible thud. Of a fall.
And I was like, oh my God, I hope
baby's
baby's
dead.
okay. Like, yeah, baby had to have been dead. And then
that baby is
turned into
like been in a shaker
shaker.
bottle for the past 30
shaken,
minutes.
not stirred.
Literally. Both actually. Shaken and stirred, please.
Shaken and stirred.
Unfortunately. And what we thought was the medicine later turning the baby like that, it wasn't. It was just the trauma of being thrown around a space station. But she wakes up, comes to, and she's kind of, looking around. Obviously, she's freaked out, and she makes her way underneath like a walking grate type of situation. And this is so terrifying because the alien just like thuds on top of her,
lands right on top of her.
And I'm pretty sure it knows she's there, right? I feel like at this point it's just like toying with her,
I think
and it's
it
just
was.
like, you know what?
Because it like put its head to the grate.
Yeah, and was just
and was like, doing its little tongue thing and like kind of looking at her.
I think it knows she's there, but it's just like, you're not going far. I'll be right back.
Just playing with his
food. Let me just go take these two somewhere real quick because it takes the two bodies away. And then we have her trying to get to the door, and then she gets to the door, and thankfully Tyler runs up, and then Rain runs up, and she's like, I can't get out. Oh, also not before she sticks her finger in the thing. Or I feel like, didn't we know that that's only for synthetics? Or maybe maybe she didn't know that. But I was like,
but everyone else,
I was like, why would you do that? Because then on like all the alarm starts going off, and it's like wah wah wah. So alerting to the alien that like, oh shit, come over here. And so then Tyler's at the door. He wants Andy to open it, but Andy sees the alien like they're coming out from behind, and he's like, no, like I'm sorry, like the creature has enough time to come through if I open the door, and it's obviously waiting for us to open it.
He was like, it's waiting. That's what it wants, is for me to open the door.
It hadn't killed her yet. Yeah, and she's just at the door, begging for her life for them to open it. And it's a really hard watch because even Tyler's just like, come on, like you're one of us, like please, like just let her in. And he's just like kind of stone faced, like, and then.
I mean, this scene really did suck.
Oh, like, and then Rain's like, she's pregnant. She's gonna have a baby.
Spills the beans, thinking that because she wasn't supposed to tell Tyler.
Yeah.
But and then she says it, and so now Tyler's like extra freaking out, like, what the hell? Like, get my baby sister in here. And Andy won't do it. And then while they're sitting there like begging for Andy, it just little
and
tail goes up through her, and then lifts her right up. And I was like, oh, she's dead.
Kind of got her probably like how I got Tyler earlier, like through the shoulder area. Yeah, they kind of seem to know that, so that way they don't like kill them
instantly.
Yeah, and then we have Oh, Randy. I was about to call her like it all started blending.
Randy.
Randy. That's the name of the horse, ain't it? Randy.
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 Randy. That's cute. I'm just getting it that it was their two names mixed together.
Yeah.
Anyways, and he was like, "You get it? You get it?" I did not get it, and so until now, and so she slaps him. Rain slaps Andy, and she's just like, how dare you? And he's like, I just did what I did because I was trying to protect us all. Otherwise, we'd be dead. And
he was like, if I would have opened that door, then like we would all be dead. And so then he's basically saying, we need to move now.
Yeah.
Like before that thing figures out how to get into this room, we need to like get the fuck out of here.
And Rain asked him, and the scene is so like, I like the way how she looks at him, and she's just like, it kind of clicks for her, and she's just like, Andy, what is your prime directive?
Yeah.
And then he's like, I have a new one, and it is, what is it? It's
to complete the mission of the corporation,
the company,
or the company.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then she also asks him, how could you do that? And he goes, what? Leave someone behind? Mm-hmm. And I was like,
burn.
Oh, savage.
Mic drop. And that's whenever they make their way to go get Zero, the compound, this compound, the substance that kind of was mentioned earlier by Rook. And then like we saw,
he was played by Bilbo Baggins.
Bilbo Baggins, and he also played he was in the first Alien, Ash. He played the synthetic, and that one they look alike.
Yeah,
but they're just different named. A lot of people. How did you feel about him in this one? Because he's dead. They like.
Oh, it was AI.
Yeah, they like AI'd his face in and like used old pictures and stuff and like compounded it together.
Yeah, kind of like they did with Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, and then I think even the voice too. Yeah, like they AI'd that shit. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did look off ever so slightly.
Yeah,
that I was like, how do I know him?
Yeah,
and then I had to look it up.
It was
to
like,
be like
they did that, and then like also like de-ageified him at the same time as well.
Yeah,
so it like
because he was a very young version of himself.
Yeah, exactly. And so he they're going to go get that substance, whatever. And so this is when they get into the other lab, right?
Yeah, and they figure out like they're going to that substance. Rook says it's life and it's most, or maybe Andy says it.
Because Andy says it because Rook gives him the permission. He's like, Andy, tell them what I told you.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. And he says it's life in its most primal, unadulterated form, the divine gift to humanity.
Yeah, he was able to extract it from one of the face huggers, and it's what is
non-mutanic.
So many words, right?
Yeah,
so many big words. It's basically and essentially what he wants to harvest and use to give humanity, quote unquote, a better chance at survival through space exploration, because unfortunately humans just weren't built for space travel.
Yeah,
our bodies get sick, we catch diseases, we die. And so what was the line? He was like, humanity can no longer wait on mutation, we have to do it ourselves, essentially. And so this movie is also
like evolution kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's tied in from Prometheus and Covenant, because these are from Prometheus and Covenant. And it's kind of all like circling the drain almost at this point, because...
Wasn't Prometheus like not marketed as an alien?
And that's why it's called Prometheus. But
but then it ended up being a part of the alien world.
Yeah, it's like they were trying to do something different, but then they realized when they couldn't really get away from it, they kind of brought it in, because then they did Alien Covenant, which is a direct sequel to Prometheus.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But that's why it kind of all like circles around, because you have the black goo, and then you have the xenomorph, and then you have from Prometheus like the engineers, which is like a whole other thing, which is at this point, I think we believe that there was a like primordial type of xenomorph that the engineers then took like inspiration from, or like DNA from, and then created xenomorphs using the black. It's all like, the black goo. I don't know. There's supposed to be Ridley Scott himself is supposed to be making like a continuation of the Prometheus storyline, And then there's a new show coming out called Alien Earth this coming up year, and it's supposed to delve into more like bringing the alien stuff into planet Earth and stuff. Yeah. And that one takes place, I believe, in between Alien and something else. I don't know, or if not, it's before all the movies.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
Timeline is
so many
fucked
layers
in this universe.
Gives very, very much X-Men timeline, where it's like, wait, who's the what? Days of Future who?
Yeah.
And so, basically we're getting all this kind of explanation of the goo and essentially what it's for. And then we cut to them getting guns because they need guns to look scary, essentially.
Yeah. Basically, he's like, you can never shoot it at the xenomorph because they have acid for blood.
Their swan song.
And it'll
it'll eat through the
whole ship and compromise the integrity of the ship.
And then they're all screwed.
Yeah. And so he's like, basically, we just need them to see us as a threat enough
to get through, complete the mission.
Yeah. So that's why they have guns. And then we get T-minus 20 minutes till impact. So we're running out of time.
Yeah. And then they look to get on a lift because they need to go to their ship. But when they're trying to get to that lift, they realize that in between the lift and them is like a layer. Yeah, a nest that the xenomorphs have built. And they're going to go a different way. But then, unfortunately, Tyler hears Kay yelling, kind of not, what is it like?
It almost sounded like
moaning?
she was singing.
Yeah, right?
To me, like a little, yes.
Yeah.
She was actually trying to contribute to the
Wicked
soundtrack.
To the Wicked promotion. Literally. And
no, it would be funnier if she was singing Popular.
And she ends up making more noises, and Kay is like, nope, Tyler is like, that's definitely Kay. So he doesn't even like hesitate. He takes off and bolts, and then Rain runs after him, and then of course Andy runs after him, and they find her in the lair, and Andy speculates that maybe she hasn't been impregnated because there's no face hugger like at the bottom of her feet that's dead, which is by all the other bodies, and they also have like bursting holes out of them.
Yeah. And so he's like, maybe she's still good.
Yeah. And I'm assuming it's because she was pregnant, right? Or maybe, I don't know.
Maybe they just didn't have time
yet. They just didn't do it yet. That's right.
And they were like, we'll save her.
Yeah.
And then not thinking that their dinner would be stolen. But yeah, they find her, they get her out, and they're taking her back to a cryopod to get her to help. Is this where Andy offers the little tube thing? Yeah. Okay. And
because they're trying to figure out what can we do, and he's like, well, 25 or 20% of the human genome is similar to rats.
Yeah. And so maybe this will help.
And so, which it didn't, because we saw it pan to the rat and it was like mutated.
Yeah.
And we saw that like little short video clip of it, but they're about to inject her with it. And then that's whenever Rain is like, no, don't do it because I don't trust
Rain's
it.
like the only one with brains.
Yeah, essentially.
Throughout this whole thing. She's the one who comes up with all the clever ideas. She's a clever girl.
Yeah.
But so they end up taking her back to trying to get her to a cryopod.
Yeah.
And this is where poor Tyler, they stopped for some reason.
Because they're going to get on a lift. They're going to get on the lift to go up.
Yeah.
And then that's whenever Rain kind of sets what's her name down, Kay, a little bit. And I guess she's trying to catch her breath or whatever. And yeah, the aliens come. And then Tyler's like, watch out. And then,
he tries to get in the way and save them. He saves them. But unfortunately, he gets stabbed through the shoulder. And that thing sucks him right up, lifts him up into the air. And
he gets to meet his unfortunate demise because there were other xenomorphs there. And for some reason, he's like, is that all you got?
Yeah.
No.
But then the thing
right through his skull.
Yeah. His head just like gets obliterated.
Yeah. And
I was like, holy shit.
Unfortunately, Rain and I guess they're watching it.
Kay can just see everything from down below. Yeah. His blood's like pouring
Dripping
down.
over them, yeah.
Yeah.
And they get
And then
into
poor Andy, what happens to Andy?
Because he tried to help Tyler, but the xenomorph pulling Tyler up like knocked Rain all the way over. I mean, Andy over that way. So that's why he's over there glitching.
Okay. Yeah, it happened so fast that I was like, wait,
And
why is Andy like on the ground now, like glitching and stuff? I couldn't.
And so they get onto the lift and they go up, but on their way up, Rain is noticing, Andy glitching on the camera and on the floor. And she's like, you know what? No, I'm not going to leave him behind. So she stops it and she's like, hey, can you go up and do this and do this? You need to leave on your own. Like, I need to go do what I need to do. And then, so she ends up leaving Kay, which I'm also
because at that point I was like, both of them just lost their brothers.
Yeah.
If they continue on with this mission.
That's true.
Like doing it. But then I was like, oh, never mind. She is not going to leave Andy. So
she goes back down and then she gets to him and she's like, hey, let me like switch your module thing. And he's like, no, it's not in the best interest of the company. And she's like, you dying is not in the best interest of the company. So let me just fix this.
Yeah.
And so he lets her. Andy comes back to us. They have a little like powwow scene. Coming, like, I'm sorry, and we love each other. Okay, now we need to find our way out. And so then we cut to Kay is on the elevator, and this is where she shoots herself up, right?
Yep. She takes the little vial that Andy gave them and
shoots herself up
in the neck, and it seems to give her some sort of life for a little bit.
Energy, because she's able to get herself off of that elevator and get to the whatever area, their old ship. And then we cut back to Rain and Andy, and they are getting onto the lift. No, my bad. I'm passing a whole entire scene. This is whenever we have the 10 minutes until crashing, whatever. And 10 minutes until whatever. And then we have them trying to get away, but the xenomorphs are coming. And so then
because they were like having a sweet moment for a second. Like once she reset them and stuff. And she was like, it was really sweet. And then the xenomorphs come. And so they're like, oh shit, time to get up and going.
Come to a dead end. And then Rook is like, I'm sorry, you have to deny your petition. You cannot leave. But like your sacrifice to the company is, appreciated. She then is with Andy and they're like, well, I guess we're going to die. And he's telling the jokes. And that's when he tells her the gravity joke. So she remembers about the gravity purge system. And so she turns it off. And as the xenomorphs come up, this is such a cool scene, decides also, I don't know how, like, would this even work? But anyways, she decides to shoot them. And so all their blood just starts like
circling,
suspending
in the air.
And levitating. Yeah, it's not actually hitting
anything.
The ship. And it just kind of goes crazy on all the xenomorphs, takes them all out. It's a really cool scene. It's just basically a bloodbath. And then we get some facehuggers that come out. She shoots them too. And then we have them basically navigating through the floating acid blood.
Yeah, of acid blood to get through.
Really scary. And my anxiety at this point when I first watched it was like,
I know. Like, especially whenever she jumps up, like pushes herself up, and then she's like face to face with that acid cloud. I was like, ooh, and then she shoots in the air to go back down. But I was like, oh God, she's about to fucking get obliterated. And then at one point we also had Rook come on to the ship and where Kay was, and he was like, I'm a friend. And because she's like, who the fuck are you? And he's like, I'm a friend. Like, your other friends didn't make it. So he's lying.
Yeah.
And I was like, don't listen to him.
He was like, they sacrificed themselves in order for you to go out. I'll help you fly the ship if you just hit this button.
Yeah. And I was like, don't listen to him, Kay. He's a liar.
But she does, doesn't she?
Well, no, she doesn't really push anything.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so.
Not yet. Okay.
They do, because they eventually get to the ship later
After
on.
all of that,
and then I think she does in that moment, or
So
someone
at
does.
some point hits it.
Yeah.
And then they're like, never mind, we're stopping you.
We're denying your petition.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have that minefield of acid to get through. But then we flash to the screen and it says there's going to be a gravity purge.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, they're going to die.
Because she's now in the lift elevator part. And because the elevator can't work without gravity on. So they're just like bouncing up all the way through the air. It's giving very much like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory when he's in that little thing.
In Chicago, we went to this restaurant that had this wallpaper in the bathroom that reminded me of the wallpaper from there. And
that's cool.
I was like, I wanted to lick it, but it was a bathroom wall.
That's
the
gross.
schnozberries taste like schnozberries. I told Andrew that, and he was
gross.
like, yeah, I thought that too, but please don't lick it. And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I know.
And then we have them essentially going all the way up, and then unfortunately the purge happens and the gravity comes back on, and
Just when they're just out of reach of each other's hands.
rain starts falling, but before she can hurl and fall all the way down to her death, she gets caught very romantically almost
by a xenomorph.
by this xenomorph.
It saves
just
her. I know.
catching her. Just
I was
very
like, it was so gentle.
so gentle, like, here, baby. Yeah. Catches
I
her.
got you.
Then holds her. And she's like, oh my God. And
I'm
then
in love.
Holding her. And then it's holding her because a face hugger is nearby and it's just waiting for her to get attached to. And then thankfully, Andy comes to the rescue and he's able to shoot the little face hugger that almost jumps on her and then shoots the alien. And then but not before that, let the whole fucking
elevator
fall.
because he caught it with one hand
he did.
earlier.
Super
He was
strong. And lets it fall on top of all these other aliens that are coming up now, and they all die. And then
but one makes it past.
Yeah, one makes it pass, and then all of it. It all happens so fast.
He shoots her and he says, "Get away from her,
You bitch."
you bitch!" And I was like, "Yeah, Andy, tell it."
Which is kind of split the fan base a little bit because this line is also said in Aliens 3.
Oh,
But people are like,
Andy said it better.
well, in the timeline, it hasn't even been said yet. So it's like making a reference to something that hasn't even happened yet because that movie is set after the timeline of this one.
But so Alien 3 was really referencing this one.
Meta, right? Yeah. And then
I like it.
I like it too. I don't have a problem with it at all, especially because it is some people were trying to say it doesn't even make sense. It doesn't they're just putting it in there for fan service. No, because all throughout the first half of the movie, and even if so, yeah. But Bjorn, he keeps referencing and calling him bitch, or he's like, I'm gonna make. Earlier, he made 2 different references where he was like, I'm gonna make something my bitch or something like that, or So it was already mentioned, and I think Andy was just taking obviously what he'd heard from Bjorn and just using it in that context.
Yeah.
And so kills that xenomorph, and then thankfully, but also I was thinking why isn't the blood from the xenomorph eating through this elevator?
Yeah, I was a little confused.
There are times when they pick and choose, or it's why isn't the blood working doing the thing that it does here? I don't know, but they.
This is where they start hitting the asteroid belt, and they make it back to the ship just in time. And for somehow the autopilot got switched on, and they're flying the ship out. And then that's when Rain comes in, and she was like, "Beep beep boop. I'm afraid I must deny your petition."
And then Rook is like, "No, what the fuck?"
She doesn't say bitch. Sorry.
No. And then his Rook blows up because the whole station gets blown up by the asteroid belt. But as they think that everything is going to be okay now, just like in any other alien movie, we have a 4th act, because when you think it's over, it's not. And we have what's her name? Rain setting up the cryo chambers, and then all of a sudden,
and she put she gave Andy, she hooked him up. Yeah. And she was like, "New directive, do what's best for us."
Yeah.
But yes, and then she's setting up the cryo chambers with Kay.
And she puts Kay in there and she's like, it's going to be all okay. You're going to be good. But then as she's, I guess, setting up hers, Kay starts to go off and it's like, alarm, alarm. Something's wrong with the, inhabitant.
Unstable.
And she pulls her out and Kay's like awake and she's like freaking out. And she's
and like super pregnant.
Super pregnant. So obviously that serum that she took like expedited her pregnancy.
Yeah.
And they're like freaking out and it happens immediately. She just starts giving birth
to a xenomorph baby.
A little xeno eggy human looking thing. Yeah, the egg sac comes out first and she's like, get it away from me.
And this is where I was like, this must be the basketball dude.
Yeah.
Because I saw so many like memes and like things of like, this guy played the xenomorph baby. They didn't say that. They called him something particular, but I'm going to call it xenomorph baby.
She like rips the umbilical cord and takes it and then is like trying to run it away with her jacket. But the acid from the egg is like eating away at her jacket. So she drops it. And as she goes to get like the freeze thing to freeze it.
I couldn't focus on anything other than the fact that she was barefoot. I was like, that's so gross.
And like all of that.
I was like, that must be so uncomfy and also disgusting.
And all of that happening.
Like, because I wear slides in my house. Like, I never go barefoot.
Yeah.
And so I was very distracted by her bare feet.
And she, bare feet and all, gets this little the freeze stuff and she's gonna try to freeze it, but she pauses because it looks like a little human baby. I mean, no, it doesn't. Like it's obviously
kind of looks like a human
humanish, humanesque. And so then but then it falls through and so she goes into the cargo area where it is and she's trying to find it, but it's out of its little egg sac. And so as she's looking for it, unfortunately, it went upstairs and it is now with Kay and with Andy as he woke back up and he's trying to help out.
And I was like, it just wants its mommy.
Yeah, it just wants its mama and it goes to her because she's like producing like a gooey substance, milk. Yeah,
lactating this like cream goo.
Ew, yeah. And so then unfortunately...
It looked like, aloe vera, like when you get it fresh from the plant. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, but like blackened or something.
Yeah.
And
like that was the consistency of it.
It's all thick.
Yeah.
And she
is there and it like bitch slaps Andy.
He gets
So I was like, oh damn, is he dead? And then I was like, oh my God, is it gonna breastfeed on her right now? Like because then its little sucker tongue comes out and it's like kind of gross. Yeah, I was like, is it about to breastfeed on her?
I did not like its wormy tongue looking thing. I would have much rather preferred like a sandworm, like a xenomorph type of tongue, like with like teeth and almost like another little head, as opposed to like that one was just too creepy and wormy looking.
Yeah, it was pretty gross.
It looked like a tube worm.
Yeah, it did.
And then like those ones that have the teeth and they shoot out. Like, what I'm talking about? You see those videos where they're like, and they're like really like, and then they're like, anyways. And so
it is. That's exactly what it looked like.
And so then it ends up, I guess, Kay hears screaming, or no. I keep getting all these names mixed up. Rain hears the screaming. So she goes back up. And then we come to, Andy malfunctioning and he's like, help her. And then unfortunately, I'm pretty sure she's dead at this point.
She's just dead. Yeah, I was like, I guess it just ate her, like sucked her life force.
Yeah.
Because she looked like malnourished and stuff all of a sudden. Like she looked very sick and
And so, then this beast stands up and it's like so fucking huge compared to her. And so she tries to grab once again the little freeze stuff and it's not working and she's trying to turn it on, whatever. And then like just pisses it off essentially.
And the way she was walking here is like how I walk when I have to pee really bad. She was like hunched over and like crossing her legs. And I was like, that's how I walk when I have to pee.
And then I'm glad you make it. And then she
sometimes
ends up.
My bladder is very unpredictable.
Sometimes we don't.
Sometimes I don't make it.
Like me, like I'm like shaking my leg vehemently over here.
Because you have to pee. Okay, almost done.
No, you're good. And so then yes, she goes down into the cargo area. No, not before that. My bad. She's trying to get away from this monster. She's trying to pull Andy. Well, she can't get him, so she goes into this.
Because he's like dead.
Oh yeah, she goes into this other room, and it I guess like is either so cold or it's like I don't know how the science or whatever, but it's getting very cold, and I guess also the oxygen in the room is like depleting because she can't breathe, and so
I think it was like exposed to
like liquid nitrogen or something
I think it was exposed to the outside space in some way.
Oh, okay.
Probably from some of the xenomorph blood and like the baby going through. Then it must have made like a small hole that was like sucking the oxygen.
Because even like the panels were turning into ice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she gets into a suit, thankfully, like a little spacesuit thing, and is able to breathe again. But then I don't know what to call it. The alien monster comes through.
Xenomorph baby.
And then she goes into the cargo area and attaches herself to this thing because she's going to like release it. But before she can do that,
it manually.
And also, why would she stop? Why would she stop? She like stops before the last one and is just like, let me just take a good look around and see where you are.
Yeah,
and
she should just went for it
because it's right behind her, and then like bitch slaps her, and then like she's not able to do it, and then thankfully she gets the little egg sac thing that has the acid and throws it over, and it creates a hole enough for them to like go through.
But thankfully she's tethered and like attached, and so she like gets sucked out immediately. And this jump scare kind of got me. Whenever she's sitting there hanging, and then all of a sudden his face is like,
yeah, no.
I was like, so that kind of got me. And finally she knocks him off and dumps him into the asteroid belt, basically. And I hope successfully killing it. I would think. I mean, especially if it's like part human, but maybe if it had enough xenomorph DNA that it like would be able to be okay. I don't know.
I think that because the actual xenomorph itself, like you said, because it's a perfect organism, and the one earlier was able to survive in the vacuum of space, maybe, but it also fell into the asteroid belt, so maybe it got obliterated enough into pieces, like, just ripped, shredded up, you know?
Yeah. But then she gets back in, she crawls back into the ship. She says, I'm going to fix you to Andy, puts him in a cryogenic pod.
Cryopod. Yeah.
Yeah. And then she says her little line, this is Rain, last survivor of the Corbellum, signing off. And then we get title card again.
Yeah.
Alien Romulus.
Very alien.
Because
that's how Alien ended too, with Ridley being like, this is Ridley signing off from the Nostromo, whatever. But yeah, and that is the end of Alien Romulus.
Alien Romulus.
Pretty good film, I'd say.
I'd say.
If we'd like to go straight into the Boo ratings, I'd probably give this one
what?
5.
Yeah, that's where I figured you'd land.
Yeah, I'd give it a 5. Overall, I thought that for me, it kind of revitalized like the Alien franchise a bit. It kind of gave it some good mojo. I liked the special effects. I liked the practical effects that they use, because they use a lot of practical effects throughout making for all of the xenomorphs and stuff, the fun facts.
Yeah.
And I thought the characters and the actors were really good. I liked them. I thought that they all fit. I liked that it was like a small cast and it wasn't too big of. I mean, most of the Alien movies are
a small cast,
but
because it's a crew. It always happens on a ship.
It's very focused on them, and I liked the characters. I liked them. Even Bjorn, I liked him for what his role played, I guess, in the movie. Not necessarily like liking him as a person, you know what I mean? But I mean, can't all be good. You have to have the one antagonizing character. But he played him really well.
Yeah, the actor did a fantastic job playing an asshole.
And then I enjoyed the story. I thought it was pretty cool how they interwove a lot of the things that we'd seen before. There was obviously like a lot of fan service, like scenes that kind of recreated other shots that had been shot before in the movies, or like things that had been mentioned or said, or like the bitch line, but I enjoyed it all. Like that made me like really feel like the director who made it, in which he's stated before in other interviews and stuff, like he knew what he was doing. He had like care and love for what he was making.
Yeah.
Because he was a fan already of the movies itself. So he just like wanted to add to it. And yeah, I give it 5 boos. All around great film. 5 boos for the Xenomorph. Any fun facts?
Fun facts. How do you say the director's name again?
Fede
Alvarez. Director Fede Alvarez sought out the special effects crew from Aliens 1986 to work on the creatures. Physical sets, practical creatures, and miniatures were used wherever possible to help ground later VFX work.
That's so cool.
The film's production design draws not only on the previous films in the series, but also the Alien Isolation 2014 video game, including the emergency communication stations, which served as save points in the game. Oh, so I'm guessing like when they were communicating through the doors and stuff. Alvarez played the game around the time Don't Breathe 2016 was released, and later said, I was playing and realizing how terrifying Alien could be if you take it back to that tone. So that's what he did. Kaylee Spaney said this film takes place between Alien 1979 and Aliens 1986. It takes place in the year 2142, exactly 20 years after Aliens, situated in 2122, and 37 years before Aliens 2179.
So, yeah. Space travel in the future is so funny because like you can be asleep for like all those years.
The
so
film,
it's like time doesn't pass.
Yeah, I know that is weird. The film was originally scheduled to be released on Hulu, but it switched to a theatrical release in June of 2023, which I'm like, I feel like that was a good idea.
No, it was supposed to get the same treatment that Prey was from the Predator franchise, like that, but they saw how well that did. And so they were like let's give this a theatrical release. And it did well in its favor. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really like, it would have almost been a shame if it was only a Hulu release.
Yeah, not to be able to see it on the big screen.
Yeah.
Because I saw it twice in the theater, honestly.
I didn't.
It was really good.
I imagine it was really good.
It was really immersive. Yeah. And then there was something else tied to that. I'll remember here in a second.
Okay. The fictional chronology of all the films in the Alien franchise is as follows. Prometheus 2012 is first, takes place in 2093. Alien Covenant 2017 takes place in 2104. Alien 1979 takes place in 2122. Alien Romulus 2024 takes place in 2142. Aliens 1986 takes place in 2179. Alien 3 1992 takes place in 2179 as well. Alien Resurrection 1997 takes place in 2381. And then although Alien Isolation 2014 is not a film, the game's events, which occur in 2137, 5 years before Romulus, are considered to be the officially part of the Alien canon. And director Alvarez has acknowledged the game's aesthetic influence on his film.
And if like watching the movie too, it does.
Alvarez was one of the bodies in the Romulus station.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, director cameo.
That's cool.
Fun fact.
The movie itself too, like it does like almost seem to like almost POV, like one like player a shooter type of video game.
Yeah, now that I know that it has some,
as they were walking through like the things and everything, it does almost give like save point and checkpoint, and then like we're going here like little side missions.
I can definitely see the influence of a game on here.
Oh, and I was mentioning, because we were talking about how it was released in theater, it was made on a budget of 80 million. It has made over 350 million.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's pretty sure they're going to be making more.
Good thing they did a theatrical release and not just Hulu.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I think I haven't seen any of the other Aliens, so I can't feel like I feel like I can't appreciate the whole world that there is. I remember really enjoying the first Alien.
Yeah. Well, I would say that you've seen the better ones out of The bunch.
The Alien series.
Yeah. Aliens, the second one, a lot. It's pretty good. A lot of people really like that one. Even I feel like some people like it even more than like the first one.
Oh wow.
It gives like the same issue with like Star Wars. People really love the first one, like the old, like back in the day, like the first trilogy. Yeah,
4, 5,
like
and
people
6.
really love the first one. People really love the middle one. And it's like say it's the best one, and then people kind of like about the third one, like Aliens 3. Like people kind of hate that one a lot.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, interesting. But overall, I thought it was a really enjoyable film to watch. There was nothing like all the special and practical effects I thought were phenomenal. They did a real good job of making these creatures look like they were really there and stuff. And it was just a really good film. I think I'd probably have to sit at like a 4.75. Not for any particular reason. I just didn't like
love it like that.
Love it. Yeah. Like I would watch it again. For sure. But I wouldn't like, it's not like a favorite movie of mine.
I think it's the birthing scene.
Yeah. The birthing scene really
definitely took it down a notch.
Yeah. That is traumatic to watch. And it scares me. For those of you who don't know, I have a big fear of pregnancy, which we've talked about several times on this podcast.
It's like a phobia almost.
Yeah, it is a phobia.
Yeah.
If there's a phobia,
if there's a pregnant woman in the building, Caitlin's running away.
Yes. Yeah, I can't handle like pregnancy.
Yeah.
And the giving birth part in particular is, and all of it, because it all reminds me of Alien.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just like, what if it's just going to
like
go
sucking the life out of you essentially
out of my body?
There is. It's a little alien.
That's what a
taking your life
C-section
force.
is.
Oh yeah, it really is.
It makes my tummy hurt. But
it's giving monsters inside me.
What's that?
It's a show that would like come on TLC, and it's about like parasites and like worms and like bugs that live
I feel
inside
like I
you,
remember
and you like
seeing
catch
that.
them in Costa Rica and then like whatever, and you die, you're like dying of like a brain hemorrhage or something, and then like but
Yeah, you can get that shit in lakes here too. And but yeah, I thought it was a fantastic movie. Would watch it again. It just wouldn't qualify as like
doesn't merit a 5.
A 5 for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But super close. 4.75 is not far off. It was a really good film. If you haven't watched it, I would highly recommend that you watch it.
And I say that you honestly don't even like you don't have to watch all the other ones to necessarily enjoy it.
I didn't feel like I
like you
was
were
out of
missing
the
out or
loop
something. Yeah.
or anything. I mean, I felt like, could I have appreciated more had I seen everything? Yes. I feel like I would have been able to pick up on those little Easter eggs and stuff like that. But the Alien franchise is like, it's scary, but for some reason it's just like, it doesn't, I mean, was it happening to me in real life? I would be freaking the fuck out.
It just doesn't scare you.
But for some reason it doesn't, it just doesn't scare me.
I don't think it really scares me either. I just think it's so cool.
It is really cool.
Like when the little alien is born, like, when I watch it with Jaden, right? He's like, like this is so gross, and I'm like, it's beautiful, like it's so pretty.
The gift of life.
This specimen is gorgeous.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I do like their long little heads.
I was telling him I want one as a pet, like a little xenomorph
little
dog,
tiny one,
like a little cute one. Like they look soft, like the little like sleek black head, like the little like it just
like
looks
patent
so
leather.
soft.
Just
and like imagine if it was just like cuddling up next to you or like rolling over for like little belly rubs.
Little belly rubs.
Yeah.
Or a face hugger, and then its little arms like.
Oh, I bet you it would give the best hugs.
Yeah, it would.
I did not like though on Tyler whenever it jumped on his face, and you could see like its little like thing kind of like trying to like
get into his mouth. It
looked too phallic, but it was just like trying to like get in there, and I was like, oh, gross. Like imagine feeling that.
And just slapping.
Yeah. And it's not a ding dong.
Not a ding dong, so it's not worth it.
No, not enjoyable.
No.
Doesn't give consensual at all. But that's also a lot of what Ridley Scott was going for as well in like the original, like, you know, of the xenomorphs and the facehuggers and stuff, because he wanted to evoke that like kind of fear of like it's giving almost like, you know, it's penetrative and it's unconsensual, you know, it's like you're having this thing like really invade you and then plant its spawn inside
in you. Yeah. It is a form of
go men.
SA.
Yeah, literally. So
Yeah.
It's that's what essentially like the fear was in that, I guess, in the original premise of the idea of it all. But either way, gross. But also they're kind of pretty in a weird sci-fi appreciative way.
They are kind of
creature
cute
way.
And I could see wanting a little doggy of one. Yeah, just having it on a little leash.
Yeah,
tink, tink, tink,
cute. What's a long head? Like it's like kind of like a chihuahua with a big head, the little one, and they're like it's like knocking over because its head's too big for its body.
Yeah. Top heavy.
Yeah, but
or like French bulldogs and stuff too.
Yeah,
because their heads get so big. And like I've seen videos of like them as puppies where they like fall forward.
Oh, kind of derpy.
Yeah,
just like ooh,
because their head's too big.
It's too heavy.
Yep, cute. But yeah, as always, or a solid 4.9, 4.85 from your boobays for Alien Romulus. Really good film. Would recommend watching it if you haven't already. It's on Hulu. Hulu's where we watched it.
Yes.
Today, and all the aliens were on Hulu.
They're all on there.
Yeah.
I have the whole franchise.
So now that...
No excuse. Go home and watch them all.
Okay.
Do your homework for the week.
We've been watching Christmas movies every day. Andrew's like, every day when we get home, he's like, time to watch a Christmas movie. And I'm like, we've watched like all the good ones.
Yeah.
There's not many more that we can watch.
Did you watch the Polar Express?
No, we haven't watched Polar Express yet.
I barely watched that one for the first time the other week.
Hot chocolate.
It was good. It used to scare me when I was younger.
Yeah, because they're lifeless eyes.
Yeah, no, they look too real. They look too real. It's animation, but they look too realistic for me. And that used to scare me when I was like Tom Hanks in animation form. Not.
Yeah, shit of nightmares.
Not for me. Yeah.
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 I'll watch all the alien films.
Oh, yeah, the alien films. Yeah. No, I mean, if you want. That honestly.
I'll at least watch 2.
At least the aliens. And then I would say you don't even got to watch Alien 3 or Resurrection. I would watch Prometheus.
Yeah.
I would watch Aliens and Prometheus. And I feel like that would give you a good roundabout. And I feel like if you watch Prometheus, you might want to watch the Covenant one.
Okay.
Because it might then like be like, oh, I might as well watch Covenant because it's a direct continuation. Like it's a continuation of, I mean, not direct because it happens 10 years after that one, but it's like continuing that storyline.
Okay. Interesting.
But,
so confusing.
But yeah, sorry, too many aliens. It's okay though. We're all aliens.
We are. To the other life forms out there, we are the aliens.
They're making movies about us.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, they're ugly.
And they're so weird.
Yeah.
Why do they have hair?
Why do they look like that? Why does that one have freckles? Yeah. And as always, we are in the lovely Rogue Media Network studio.
That's right. They take great care of us. And you can listen to us and all the other amazing podcasts that are on this network all in one central place. And that is at
roguemedianetwork.com.
That's right. And then wherever you can listen to us on a slew of podcasting platforms, but the biggest 2 would be
Spotify.
And also Apple. But wherever you do listen, don't forget to
rate, review, like, and subscribe.
That's right, because that is the only way we can get ahead in this world. And if you want to reach out to us, let us know your thoughts on Alien Romulus or want to let us know your listener pick. If you think there's a funny Christmas movie we should cover coming up, like a Thanksgiving kind of thing. We have covered Jack Frost. We've covered Krampus.
Black Christmas. But there's like...
I feel bad. Like I feel like we didn't rate Black Christmas well.
There's like 2 or 3 of them though.
And
the Black Christmas, like a remake and then like another one.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we could do another version, but...
I hope we rated Black Christmas well.
Well, there was a lot of... I remember that one we kind of thought was a bit janky.
Yeah.
And even like...
a little cancelable.
That and like there was certain... Like there, it just wasn't as scary on parts, and then like the Remember like the whole like him being on the phone and being like,
Yeah.
like making like weird moaning noises for like 5 minutes. Yeah. I don't know.
Some people really love it though, and I was like, "Oh fuck! I hope we didn't shit on it." Like, but anyways, if there is a Christmas movie that you want us, a Christmas horror movie that you'd like for us to cover, please let us know and reach out to us on our one social media platform, which is Instagram, and that is at
BOOBAES podcast, because you're boo babes, not your boo babes.
That's right. And yeah, I don't know what we're covering next.
No,
do
it's
you?
kind of up in the air.
Oh,
we can do whatever.
We do have something to talk about though. Jeff, our listener, has a podcast now.
He does, yes.
And
he does.
it's over the He Who Fights with Monsters movie.
Book series?
No, book series.
Book series,
yeah. Or Fights with Monsters series. And his podcast is called We Who Read Like Monsters. And so it's super good. I've listened to a few of the episodes now, all that have come out. And yeah, I hope that y'all would give it a listen. It's really good. It's got there's four of them total. So Jeff, aka Blue, and his friends.
Tronanon, Tank and a Half, and then
Jinx.
Yeah, Jinx. Jinx. And then
The Jinx.
The Jinx.
The Jinx.
But really check it out, you guys. And if you're interested in those books, it would probably be great for you to listen to.
Yeah, if you've read them, even if you haven't read them, I haven't read them, and I've just been enjoying listening to their banter and then them telling me about the thing.
Yeah.
It also reminded me, the storyline reminds me a lot of Solo Leveling, which is an anime that I really enjoy, that's based off of a Korean webtoon. And so it's phenomenal, Solo Leveling is. And this storyline reminded me a lot of Solo Leveling. So I was like, oh, I actually like this. Like, I was like, I would want to read these books now.
Yeah.
Even though they go full spoiler too, just like we do. So they tell you the whole book. But I was like, I still want to go back and read these books now. They seem really good. So I can understand why it has such a like cult following.
Yeah. So please, you guys, make sure you go and check them out, give them a follow. And I mean, even if you
I know they're on Podbean. I don't know. And they're on Spotify now.
Okay. Cool.
I don't know if they're on Apple Podcasts yet. I've been listening on Podbean.
Okay.
I downloaded Podbean just so I could listen.
But yeah, and congratulations to them for starting it off and
Jeff
getting that off the ground.
Said that we kind of inspired him to make a podcast.
That's cool.
It makes us feel cool and glad that people actually listen to this, because sometimes I forget that other people other than me and you listen to it.
Yeah. So thanks you guys for actually listening to our voices.
Yeah.
And sticking around with us and for wanting more. And hopefully we get to keep giving you more and more.
More and more for the rest of forever.
We'll figure out what the next episode will be. But until then,
bye, bays.
Bye, bays.
Boo bays.
Boo bays.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.